Hi, this is Paul McIntosh from RC Bearings, and I'm going to show you how I change bearings in a two-stroke engine. First off, I want to show you the tools and supplies that I'm going to use. These are pretty common things that most people have in their homes already, and it'll give you an idea of what to use. I actually have some special tools that I had made, but I don't want to show you those because they were rather expensive. I just want to show you the common stuff you can use to do it. I have here a 15 millimeter socket, which is pretty much exactly the same outside diameter as the front bearing that I'm going to use. You take your front bearing and match it up with a socket of your own. That is to remove or install the front bearing. Here's another smaller socket that's just a little smaller than the OD of the crankshaft there. That's to get up inside here and remove the front bearing once you get it hot. Then I also have a hammer. I don't normally use a big ass hammer like this or a big hammer like this. I normally use a much smaller finish hammer that's a lot lighter, but if you're careful, this will be fine. And then I have a syringe of a lightweight motor oil. This is a 0W20 motor oil that I use to lube the bearings with before I install them. Another thing you can use to remove that front bearing is a piece of dowel, like a piece of 3/8 dowel or something like that. Anything that will go up inside the back of there and engage that front bearing so you can push it out. The other thing I have is a toaster oven. Now this one's heating right now, getting ready for it. These toaster ovens you can get at places like Target, Walmart, whatever. And you see that I have mine set on 300 degrees, have it set on broil, and then I have the timer set past 10 minutes. Once I put the crankcase in there, I'll set that time to 10 minutes, and that's all you need. Now, one thing you probably have heard other people say is that they use propane torches and things like that to heat the crankcase. Please don't ever do that. Propane torches burn at around 3,800 degrees Fahrenheit. The materials used in these crankcases can start to distort permanently at around 400 to 500 degrees. And the thing is you'll never know how much heat you're actually putting in if you use a torch. Okay, now let's look at the bearings going in here. If you'll notice that there's a difference between these two bearing sides, this bearing is a high-speed bearing with a Japanese plastic retainer. The reason we recommend these for all heli engines is these can take a lot more cyclic loading than the metallic retainers can. And I'm sure you've heard of plenty of people who have had metallic retainers come apart and go all through their engine and absolutely destroy crankcases, cylinders, pistons, heads, and everything. I have a few engines that had that happen to. This almost completely eliminates that problem. So anybody that says they have high-speed bearings for your engine that doesn't have this, I would question that with a big-ass grain of salt. The other thing you'll notice is that the R6 bearing that goes in the front of this crankcase has the shields on both sides. The reason for that is there is about 2 to 3 thousandths clearance between that shield and the inner race. So any oil that gets up there is going to easily get inside that bearing. People say that, well, it has to be open for oil to get there. What they don't realize is that the clearance between the crankshaft and the inside of that crankcase is probably a thousandth of an inch, maybe even less. So it takes an awful lot to squeeze that oil through there, so it's going to get in there a lot easier than it's going to get past here. Okay, I'm going to put the crankcase in the oven, and we'll set that timer for 10 minutes. One other thing I forgot to mention is I have some welder's gloves that I use to handle that hot crankcase with. You can use an oven mitt or a couple of layers of cloth or something, but just remember that crankcase coming out of there is going to be 300 degrees, and it'll give you some good second, third degree burns in just a few seconds. A while now. It is nice and hot. Let's see if that bearing will come out. Just like that. Now the front bearing should be just about the same. I'll just tap it through. Now, while the crankcase is hot, take the front bearing, your crankshaft with your rear bearing, drop it in. Now wait a few seconds for the heat to transfer to the rear bearing, and that'll lock it into place. Then you can take your new front bearing, slide it down over the crankshaft. And now that the front bearing is sitting nice and square on there, just tap it until it's solid. Push the crankshaft back into place, and you're all done. Smooth as silk. And that's really all there is to it. Now you have to do is finish, reassemble your engine, and you're done. If you found any value in this video, would you please like and share? And if you have any comments, questions, or anything else about it, please leave me a comment below, and I will answer it as best I can. Bye for now.